Guys, my husband cheated on me. We have two children, ages 6 and 2. I know I'm not the first, nor will I be the last, but for 2 days I've had the feeling that I won't be able to cope mentally. I'm currently looking for an apartment to rent in a neighboring city so as not to separate the children from their environment. I just started working after motherhood. I'm literally tearing myself apart. I'm sick. I can't swallow the betrayal. I forgave a lot of things. There were a lot of compromises. He made countless mistakes before this step. I got in touch with a girl he'd been looking for 2 years in a row, and they'd seen each other many times. They weren't intimate because she refused him, despite his advice. He put her in the car and they went to different places, but not public ones, and that's how she felt. All this, the pain is cruel. What should I do with the children? How does one start a new life? We just built a home, they live happily, I got used to it here. I don't know how to move forward. Please give me advice. How can I protect myself in the future? What problems can I expect? I plan on having the children go to him a few days a week.
Those words, they're incredibly raw, aren't they? And they capture a pain that is just so real for so many people. That feeling of complete chaos, feeling physically sick, the fear, it can feel completely overwhelming. So our goal here isn't to try and wave a magic wand and erase that pain. Instead, it's to bring some order to the chaos. We're going to walk through a really clear, supportive framework and explore a path toward healing, one step at a time.
So, where do we even begin? Well, the very first, and honestly the most crucial step, is to understand what is happening to you, both emotionally and physically. It's so easy in these moments to feel like you're failing, like you're just falling apart. But I want to be crystal clear. What you're experiencing is not weakness. It's a completely normal response to a profound psychological wound. Let's just put it right out there. What you are experiencing is trauma. This isn't just about being sad or angry. No, the shock of a deep betrayal is a form of trauma. And why is it so powerful to just name it? Because it completely flips the script. It stops that voice in your head that's saying, "What's wrong with me?" and it replaces it with, "Oh, I'm having a natural reaction to a traumatic event." And right there, that is a foundation of self-compassion. This slide really shows that deep connection between our minds and our bodies. The nausea, that feeling of being physically torn apart, the inability to eat, that is not just in your head. When you experience trauma, your body is flooded with stress hormones, like cortisol and adrenaline. It literally goes into a fight or flight state and reacts as if it's been physically injured. So when you feel sick, you're not overreacting. It's your body's literal, physiological response to shock. And let's just pause on this for a moment. In the middle of this massive internal storm, you are still functioning, looking for an apartment, thinking about the children, going to work. It would be so easy to label this as just desperation, but it's not. It is profound resilience in action. It is proof that even when you feel at your absolute weakest, an incredible strength is carrying you forward. All right, so once we've acknowledged the trauma, the next step is to understand the wound itself. To heal properly, we have to see it clearly. I know it's tempting to minimize what happened to make the pain more bearable, but true healing requires an honest assessment. And let's be clear, this isn't about assigning blame, it's about gaining the clarity you need to move forward. And here we see a really critical distinction. A mistake is often a single regrettable action, but what the source material describes is a pattern, a 2-year pursuit, consistent choices, repeated lies, secret meetings. This wasn't a momentary lapse. It was a series of conscious decisions made over a long time. And why is it so important to see this pattern? Because it protects you from misplaced guilt and that temptation to downplay what really happened. And here is a crucial point. The outcome doesn't change the intent. The responsibility for the pursuit, the lies, and the emotional infidelity rests entirely with the person who made those choices. The other person's response is, frankly, irrelevant to the betrayal that occurred. Holding on to this truth is absolutely vital for maintaining your own sense of reality and self-worth.
Okay, now let's address what is often the biggest fear in this entire situation, the well-being of the children. And I want to share some good news here, which is confirmed by decades of psychological research. Children are incredibly resilient. What they need for security isn't necessarily parents living under the same roof. It's stability and the absence of conflict.
This comparison is just so important. What harms children isn't the separation itself, it's the conflict that can surround it, the tension, the arguments. But look at what helps them thrive: predictable routines, a calm atmosphere, and knowing they are deeply loved by both parents even if you're apart. And here's the key takeaway. This is the environment you now have the power to create.
So how do you communicate this? The key is a simple, honest, and reassuring script. Something like, your other parent and I will not be living in the same house anymore, but we both love you very, very much. That will never change. So why does this work? It's brief, it's blame-free, and most importantly, it centers on the one thing they need to hear most, that the love for them is constant and unchanging. And you can repeat this as often as they need to hear it.
And this really is the guiding principle. The details, the reasons, the immense pain of the betrayal, that is an adult burden. It's yours to process, hopefully with a support system like a therapist or trusted friends. It is not, under any circumstances, something for your children to carry. Your role becomes a shield, protecting their innocence while you navigate your own healing. This brings us to the practicalities of building that new, stable environment. In a time of overwhelming chaos, structure becomes your best friend. And it's so important to see that establishing clear boundaries isn't an act of punishment. It's a profound act of self-care. It's how you create the predictability that both you and your children desperately need to feel safe again.
So here we have a simple but powerful framework. Fixed days, clear times, written agreements. What does this do? It removes ambiguity, it eliminates the need for constant, stressful negotiation. For your children, this structure creates a dependable rhythm, and in a world that feels unstable, that rhythm is immensely comforting.
Your communication also needs this kind of structure. It helps to think of your co-parenting interactions as business-like, not cold, but focused. The business is the well-being of your children. This means conversations are logistical, centered only on them. You don't need to relitigate the past or discuss your feelings with your ex-partner. Keeping it simple, focused, and documented is how you protect your own precious emotional energy for healing.
Now it's really essential to be realistic. This journey is not a smooth, upward climb. Healing from trauma is not linear. It happens in waves. There will be good days and there will be days that feel incredibly difficult. The point of knowing this isn't to make the waves disappear. It's to help you prepare so when a big wave comes, it doesn't surprise you and knock you completely off balance.
So what does this emotional landscape look like? Well, you can expect sudden crashes of grief or anger, moments of intense self-doubt, a profound sense of loneliness, especially at night. You will feel exhausted. Your ex-partner might even try to downplay what happened. When these moments hit, please remember, this is a normal part of the process. This is the trauma working its way out of your system. You are not going backward. You are healing.
So where does all this lead? It leads to the final and most hopeful part of this journey. You know, the phrase starting a new life can feel so overwhelming, right? Like you have to erase everything and begin from scratch. But let's reframe that. A more empowering way to see it is that you are not starting over. You are building forward from where you are right now, using the wisdom and strength you've gained through this very pain.
This quote really captures the essence of this final stage because it puts the power firmly in your hands. A new life isn't something that just magically appears. It's built, brick by brick, through small intentional actions. Each day you enforce a boundary. Each time you comfort your children, each moment you choose self-compassion over self-blame, you are laying another brick in the foundation of your new reality.
This timeline visualizes what that building process often looks like. It begins with pure survival, just getting through each day. Then you move into stabilization by creating those new routines and boundaries we talked about. From that stability, clarity and strength begin to emerge. And the final stage? Reclaiming a deep, unshakable sense of your own worth. It is a process, but it's a predictable one.
So we'll end with this thought. This is the truth that will ultimately emerge from the pain. The fact that you are enduring this right now is the ultimate proof of your capacity to handle whatever comes next. You have endured the worst of it, and that means you can and you will build a future that is stable, peaceful, and entirely your own.